Welcome back to Kryptolytix, giving you a fresh take on crypto analytics. And this is your crypto recap, where I cover some of the things going on in the crypto space. So let's jump in. Okay, so let's get into this, shall we? So we'll cover a little bit of what's been going on in the market over the last few days. The weekend was pretty bullish, actually, and resulted in a bullish weekly close, actually. So right here, you can see this dragonfly doji. So that's where the body is quite small here, but you have this massive tail to the downside, and that's very bullish. That's actually a very, very bullish candlestick pattern. Over the course of the week, we came all the way down to the bull market support band right here, and then we were bought all the way back up into where the body or the candle essentially started forming, and then we actually closed higher than when we opened. So that's what that is. So this is the breakdown of why this is actually quite bullish at the moment. So we had a strong bounce off the bull market support band, so that's the 20-week and the 21-week moving averages. We also have a bullish consolidation pattern. Now, I'll show you what that means. So you can't really tell here, but you can tell here. So if you have a look at the price action here, you can see that every single retrace is overlapping the previous. So every move is strongly overlapping all the previous moves. So you can see this move here, and then it moves back up to like halfway into the previous move, and then it moves about, but not even halfway, it's actually more than halfway into the previous move. Generally, this is considered as a consolidation pattern or a bullish consolidation pattern. And I'll show you an example that happened back in 2022, actually, which was the bear market. You can see here, for example, we had strong overlaps in price action. So that's coming off the bear market, essentially. So you get these, like a really strong move down. You know, these strong overlapping moves, right? That's considered as consolidation. And then generally after that, you get trend continuation. And in the bear market, the trend was down, obviously. We're getting a similar pattern now where you get this overlapping price action. This is actually an Elliott wave theory pattern anyway, right? We're kind of looking at a bit of a bull flag, really, if you look on higher time frames. But nevertheless, we've got the SMA top band held as support. So again, I've mentioned these in previous videos, but that's the SMA VWAP band there. So you can see that hasn't closed below the mid level of the top band just yet. So there's another one there. And what I'm looking at is, if this is a bull flag and just a bullish consolidation pattern, looking at about 80 to 90K as the upside target, and the log regression fib is at 88K. And what that is that's these lines here. That's my log regression lines. So we got the first one at about 71K, and then the next one, if we go directly above, is at about 88K. But if we sort of chop around and then come up here, then that's when we probably might be able to get to the 90K. The longer it takes these moves to play out, often the higher we can go after they're finished, right? Pretty bullish week last week for Bitcoin, surprisingly. Even though we had fear and greed at 43, we ended on a pretty strong note. Now let's have a quick look at something else that I'm seeing as well. So stochastic RSI, right? So the stochastic RSI on the weekly is now down below the middle band, right? So let's look at what happened with Bitcoin price when the weekly stochastic RSI re-entered the mid band so far this cycle. So we had right here, which was in September 2023, so that's last year. And we came down pretty far, actually. We came down below the bull market support band. So that was a potential breakdown point. But in a bull market, there's a good chance or higher probability that we're actually going to come back up anyway. But nevertheless, we crossed down below the middle band, above 20 and below 80. That's the sort of the middle band there that I'm talking about. But we came back up, and then that was the stochastic re-entry. And then we went up 51% until we came back into the band. So that's 51% up. And then as soon as we came back into the band, that's where the measurement ends. And then we came back down again, enter, and then we went up 43% before we came back down into the band. Now, I've actually put an additional indicator on here so we can see, the green parts is when we're in that oversold territory, and the red is when we're in the overbought territory. So we can see we got the green band at the moment on the Stoch RSI. So we're really just waiting to come back in. And this is generally a really good spot for buying in the bull market, right? In the bear market, we can get pinned down into this zone for long periods of time and just keep going down. But when you're in a bull market, you can get pinned to the upside for that extended period of time as well. But every time we've reset, we've had nice bullish price action afterwards. Well, here was just a small kind of little like fake out actually, and just continued in the range. But then we had another chance here, and then that's when we went off. So stochastic RSI is completely reset, and we're pretty much ready to go, right? If we're going to get bullish continuation from here. This could be our fall wave on the Elliott wave completed, and maybe we coil up. Who knows if it takes like a week or two, we're not really sure, but we'll have to see what happens, right? Now, yesterday, there was a pretty crazy bit of short-term price action. We had a hunt up to the upside and then a hunt to the downside, essentially where we've formed a base now around that 63K level. At time of recording, it's 63,731. So we've actually had a little bit of a recovery since here as well. But nevertheless, we had a very big pocket of liquidity here and we had a big pocket of liquidity above. So because price action's kind of in no man's land at the moment while we wait for bullish structure to form on the short term or low time frame chart. So that's, if we hold above this 64K level, that's starting to break the bearish structure, right? But we still have a lower low to our previous structured low. So that's why we're kind of in no man's land at the moment. I'm cautiously bullish though at this point. That's my bias, is kind of leaning more towards the bull side, but there's definitely a case for more downside. Now, whether it's from here or from a little bit further up, we're not really sure at this point. But if we have come over here to this chart where I posted, some are saying 53K or 52K is still in play for Bitcoin. And that would be what that looks like. That would be our fifth wave to the downside or third level drop. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So if I just turn these drawings back on, that's the chart here. So we can see there's a big pocket of liquidity here. There's also a high value node on the volume profile, which I don't have on the chart here. This would be what that would be if it just came down from here. Now, we do have a diagonal trend line, and as I said in my previous video, the only reason why I draw diagonal trend lines is because I just want to see what retail traders are looking at. I don't personally trade them myself, right? I use other things like horizontals. I give a lot more respect to volume nodes and some of my favorite indicators and stuff like that. That's generally what I give a lot more respect to. But nevertheless, this is what retail will be looking at. They'll be looking at this as a breakout and retest at the moment. But if we fail that and we don't hold here at these levels, again with this structure, then this is probably where we'll come to next, about the 53K level. Now, as long as we hold above the 53K level, we're still in bullish territory. And this is what I've got. This could be all happen within May. Within May, like what I showed in my last video, if you watched that and had the patience to sit through on my TA, then essentially you would have seen that in last year's candles with regards to May and the whole adage of sell in May and go away, we actually went all the way down in the middle of the month. So we came quite far down and put in a lower low to the previous month. But then by the end of the month, we actually closed higher. So that would be what this looks like, right? So that would be the end of the month potentially closing, around 80K or maybe somewhere back in the 70 range. So even if we do get down there, this is potentially what we could see if we did get down there. But again, for me, I'm still leaning bullish at this point while we hold these levels. Anyway, let's move on from the TA stuff. So we've moved from 43 on the Fear and Greed Index, as I covered, I don't know if it was the last video or the one before, probably the last video, to 71 in a couple of days. So, I mean, that's a bull market for you, right? Look at that. So that's our spike. That's our 43 level. Again, a pretty good buying opportunity, which I took, and we've spiked back up to 73. Still nowhere near as greedy as we were when we're at the 70K levels, but we're pretty much where we were the last time we were actually higher, slightly higher in price. So there you go. Greed's kicked back up a tad. Now, what's something that could give us that potential for more bullish price action, right? Well, for starters, when you look at the stock market, I mean, it looks like it's on the road to recovery. It might do a lower high here and then just do something like this, but it looks like it's on the road to recovery. So, TradFi see this and then maybe they buy Bitcoin ETFs, and that would be inflows, right? But the other thing as well, which gives us those fundamentals that we need for our Bitcoin or altcoins or whatever it is that we want to go up, at least with regards to the US, is we have the M2 money supply has flipped positive. So over the course of last year, we had tightening with regards to the liquidity, the Fed offloading a lot of their assets and also money supply drawing down. But now we've finally flipped to the upside. And what happens when there's more liquidity in the market? Well, prices go up, right? Those are our fundamentals. Liquidity are the fundamentals that we need in order to see price appreciation on risk assets. Now, I just covered this before, but here is the bull flag posted by someone else. Now, this is their version of the bull flag. We had a bull flag here, a little bull flag, and then we've got a big bull flag here. So this pole here, if you measured from the top here to the bottom here, if this is actually a bull flag, well, you would measure that to the upside. That would probably hit the yearly pivot, which is 99K according to this chart, and 92K at the 1.618 Fibonacci extension. That's measured from this last bull flag to the top of, well, the all-time high, actually. So that's 1.618 to the 2 region, and that's a yearly pivot as well. So anyway, that's a potential bull flag that's playing out. We also have diminishing volume, and with diminishing volume, generally a breakout of volume with bullish price action could be that trend continuation that that we're all looking for, right? Now, I saw this really cool video about the power law time contours with regards to Bitcoin. This is a really, really cool animation. So this is projecting potentially us hitting $1 million for Bitcoin. So you can see here, that's where we are right now. And this is the projection, essentially. It's like really, really cool. So this is 5 years ahead of support. And then this is us extending all the way out. So this is using like also logarithmic regression as well. And then we zoom all the way out. So according to this, we might get it by 2032. So there you go. I mean, that's pretty far into the future. But nevertheless, if you're happy to hold for a long period of time, then, you know, even having 0.1 Bitcoin, that's $100,000 by 2032. So that's not too bad, not too shabby. Obviously, there's a lot more upside with alts, but anyway, a lot more risk as well. So anyway, I thought that was a really cool animation. Now let's have a look at some more bullish signs for Bitcoin. So we have a spring pattern similar to January 2024. Spring reclaimed the range lows. So here's our spring there, there's our spring there. It's also a deviation, right? So if you're talking about a range, this would be a range here, deviation to the upside, deviation to the low side, then we go up to a bullish expansion. So this is our range here, essentially. Well, we actually just touched the top of the range here, but this is potentially our spring pattern. So spring low didn't even drop to previous support at 53K. Again, that was something that I mentioned before, right? And then the price is above diagonal trend line and using it as support. So again, with diagonal trend lines, they're all right, but I don't give as much credence to them personally. Now, let's talk about the GBTC outflows. So how much did we get today? And when I say today, I mean last Friday. We had 63 million of inflows. Wow, finally, look at this. 63 million. What, GBTC actually had inflows? Wow, that's actually quite bullish, right? I think that's quite bullish. Let's look at the flows. So actually we had a total last week on the Friday of 378 million total inflows. That's pretty good considering we had nothing but outflows in the days leading up to that. And then we had 85.2 million yesterday. So the flows are back on. Still waiting for the Hong Kong ones to enter in here. Like, at least not that I can't actually see them in here. So I really want to track those, but I can't track them yet. But anyway, it's interesting to see that GBTC outflows have slowed down. And actually, we've been getting a couple of days of inflows now with GBTC. Because look at this. Nothing but red the whole time. It's because of their fees, right? Their fees are quite high. And then we had 3.9 million yesterday and 63 million on Friday. So not too bad, not too shabby, huh? Seems that the flows just follow price action, right? But again, with all these new ETFs and stuff that come in, it means that when we have bullish price action, we get more buying pressure, which creates more momentum in any bullish moves to the upside. So one thing on dips, any dip, even last night or even yesterday's dip, it's always good to look at what coins bounce back the hardest after any pullback. And yesterday, on the recovery, AI coins were among the top to recover after a pullback. So that was pretty interesting to see, like just the AI coins. So again, the whole point of crypto narratives is you really want to see what comes back the fastest. And that way you know what's worth looking at and potentially investing in. So this is just a couple in my portfolio. Did this down a lot from when I bought it, but everything else on this list, I'm up a lot. Fetch them up an insane amount, like several 100%. I just wish I bought more of it, but you know, that's same old story. You know, we've all said it before, right? I'm pretty sure we've all said it before. But anyway, AI coins came back pretty well, actually. So in a bit about the news, we've got the Wells notice been given by the SEC to Robinhood. So it means the SEC is going after Robinhood for selling unregistered securities, essentially. And the CEO says, if necessary, we'll use our resources to contest this matter in the courts with the intent of both defending our crypto business and establishing regulatory clarity in the United States for the benefit of our customers. So we've got Coinbase fighting the fight. We've got MetaMask now, or Consensus, I should say, who are the operators of MetaMask fighting the fight, and now Robinhood. So I don't know, it's a bit of an all-star cast there that they're taking on. And these guys all have a lot of resources, so might be a losing battle. It's not like the XRP lawsuit went very well for them. So, I mean, Gary just keeps losing these and just dragging this on. And now you've got politicians in the US who are getting really frustrated by this, especially on the Republican side. So it's just an ongoing saga, and it's not exactly helping with regards to price action and all that sort of stuff, but you can see this kind of news. Again, I don't really put too much weight into price action and news personally because I'm a technical trader, but with regards to flows, you would think that this would affect flows, but it didn't really. As you could see on Friday, we had one of the biggest inflow days in weeks. So that's how it works. In a bull market, a lot of negative news kind of gets brushed to the side. We might get little pullbacks, and then that's just noise, and then we continue up. In a bear market, bullish news doesn't do anything to the price. So that's kind of how it works, right? That's how you know where we're at in the cycle. So let's get on to the Solana ecosystem update. We have Bitcoin just surpassing 1 billion in transaction histories. Meanwhile, Solana has processed over 280 billion transactions overall. Wow, that's just insane, right? Bitcoin's very slow, admittedly. Every block takes about 10 minutes, whereas Solana's, many a minute, right? Because it's proof of history. When you look at confirmations, whenever you send a transfer, for example, if you bridge, you can actually see how many confirmations in real time. It goes from, because usually, for example, Wormhole has a 30 confirmation requirement before it confirms the transaction. It goes from 1 to 10 in just like 1 second. So that's what we're talking about, blazing fast speed versus Bitcoin, which is 10 minutes. But anyway, that was pretty crazy. We've got another report over here of $52 million being bridged from other chains to Solana, facilitated by Wormhole, which I just mentioned, and dBridge Finance, which is actually an airdrop farm at the moment. So, if you want to do some bridging, it's best you check dBridge to see if there's any routes before you use Wormhole. But nevertheless, I actually used it just yesterday, in fact, to bridge from Solana to SUI. But so I was an outflow, not an inflow, actually. But yeah, you can see a lot of these chains flowing into Solana. So there you go. There's ecosystem flows brought to you by Artemis. Now, I did mention Eigenlayer in my last video. Now, Jito is looking at building restaking protocols on Solana, and not just Jito, but others as well. In the hype of Eigenlayer, Solana devs step up to replicate the concept. So I found this article on CoinDesk, and here we go. Restaking Gold Rush spreads to Solana from Ethereum, with Jito and others joining in. So there you go, Jito pushing the bar once again. If you want to read the full article, you can come over here to my X, link in the description below, and you will see one of my posts has this article. But if that interests you anyway. But yeah, there was talk even on the Drift podcast, which I reposted on my page, about the restaking and all that sort of stuff. So we'll see how they build it out on Solana. Again, I think a lot of the restaking stuff is probably confusing to most people. So when I say hype of Eigenlayer, I think people just are like, yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good, but without actually understanding. And most devs don't actually know even how to explain this. Okay, so let's have a look at some other stuff here. So we've got Jupiter now has the CL asset. So I've mentioned Clone in a few videos. I'll leave a link to Clone in the description below as well, where you can go and check it out if you want to provide liquidity. It's another airdrop farm at the moment, which I've spoken about in a few videos. But now you can actually just buy them straight from Jupiter. So you don't need to go into Clone's interface anymore to buy these CL assets. You can just go straight over Jupiter, type in Doge, and then you'll see Doge come up. And that's the CL Doge. And they've got Arbitrum. I've mentioned all of the assets they've got available there. So etc, etc. So there you go. Now you can get to your CL assets or just gain exposure to these assets on chain on Solana. And I'm sure they will keep adding more. They were a contender for the LFG launchpad, but they did not win it. But they're still pushing. So it's good to see a Jupiter partnership with Clone. So if you want to buy spot with some of these wrapped assets that are backed by liquidity by people like me, then essentially you can just do it this way. Nice and simple, right? Right through Jupiter, your one-stop shop on Solana. Now, there was a little bit of, I wouldn't say necessarily drama, I suppose, but there was a vote on Jupiter, which I covered in, one of my videos recently, of course. And it feels like people weren't really voting based on their opinion, or maybe because they just didn't read the vote, right? So there was a trial budget. So again, not a permanent budget, a trial budget for, like, for example, the Reddit working group. And, we'll have a look at Whale's Friend here, for example. Really good live stream on Twitch. Essentially, what the vote was, at least even for the Reddit one, was $7K USD per month for a mod. So, yeah, personally, I actually abstained from this vote. I was going to vote for, and then I read that, I'm like, that's probably a bit high. So, I mean, he voted against it, but I just abstained personally because I was like, that's quite a lot. I think 4 actually won the vote. But the thing about Jupiter and that ASR program, which is Active Staking Rewards program, is, again, you will receive ASA rewards no matter which option you vote for. So yes, no, or abstain, all count. So if you're voting yes just to get the ASR reward for the launchpad, you didn't need to do that. You know, it quite clearly states here you didn't need to do that at all. So anyway, just thought I'd clear that up. But I must admit that, you know, they can kind of afford it. I mean, look at this. This is their 7-day earnings. So this is in the 1 week, they earned $233,000 in fee revenue. So again, that's pretty extreme. It's not like they can't afford it, right? They're just being generous to their workers, I guess. So, you know, you can't fault them for trying to be good to the people that are working for them, admittedly. But, well, you know, just because they have fat stacks and can dish out more money doesn't mean overpaying is justified. It spells out financial wastage and raises eyebrows among stakeholders. So I don't know. That depends on how you feel about this. But anyway, I just thought I'd clear that one up. I think a lot of people voted for anyway, and it passed as a vote for. So there you go. These guys are going to get their money. And, you know, I think it's pretty generous, to be honest. I think it's pretty generous. Now let's have a look at a little bit of information about liquid stake tokens on the market. Now I've covered Sanctum in great detail in previous videos, so I'll just go over it a little bit. But if you want to participate in Wonderland, I'll leave a link in the description below for that, where you can sign up for that. If you've got any LSTs, that's liquid stake tokens for Solana, then I highly recommend that you go and see if you can get XP on those, because that's a farm that's, I think, pretty big at the moment, an airdrop farm that's pretty big at the moment. So at the moment, only 6% or 3.4 billion of staked SOL actually comes from liquid staking. So Ethereum, for example, on the contrary, has 32% of its stake coming from liquid staking. So that would be Lido for the most part. I think that's the biggest one, Lido staked ETH or ST-ETH. But the market share of Solana LSTs is becoming more balanced than Ethereum. So on Ethereum, 68% of the market share is coming from Lido. Comparatively, the liquid stake tokens on Solana are more in an oligopoly state. So we can see the main ones at the moment are Jito, Marinade, so that's Jito Sol, MSol, which has been, that's the OG, that was the top, but now Jito's taken over. BSol, INF, JupSol, and then the MarginFi LST, and then Helios Sol, that's pretty interesting to see up there. Lane Sol, Compass Sol, and then Lido's ST Sols all the way down the bottom there, because you get nothing for it, right? In terms of airdrop farming and stuff like that. But we can see a history here of LSTs on Solana. So in the early days, the market was split by ST Sol, MSol, and Sanctum's SCN Sol, which you don't really see that anymore. And the total market cap of Solana's LSTs was less than 1 billion. But since the start of this year, look at the growth. I mean, that's just actually quite impressive. And the major benefit to LSTs, or liquid staked derivatives of Solana, is you can use them in DeFi, and you can use them to farm points, and you can use them as collateral, and you can, you know, do all sorts of stuff with it. So your Solana is still earning the stake, or getting the stake rewards, but you can put it into other things in order to earn, you know, again, farm airdrops and all that sort of stuff. So I won't cover this in all of its detail because it's quite a long post, but, you know, you can see that the LSTs are on the rise, and that's mostly thanks to Sanctum. We also have BonkSOL, which I didn't actually see in that list, surprisingly enough, but we've got BonkSOL. And BonkSOL has, they brought out this little video, which was pretty cute, actually. So this is Bonk finding the little egg thing, because it does look like an egg, right? It does look like an egg. Anyway, he's even cracking it because it looks like an egg. So that's my one. It's level 55 at the time of posting it. Actually, this was my dip buy. I did show that in my last video. I literally bought this when SOL was 120, worth about 120. And SOL is now worth 157. So, you know, anyway, that was a pretty good dip buy, I think. One of the reasons why BonkSOL is one of my top Sanctum holdings is because I believe, there it is, level 63, I believe that Bonk, being as amazing they are, and given how much money they generate in revenue, they are the top earner in terms of revenue on the Solana blockchain compared to everything because of the Bonk bot. I think that when they do their end of year airdrop, there's a good chance that by holding BonkSOL, not only are you farming points or getting XP, if you will, I say farming points, but getting XP for Sanctum Wonderland, but you may even get some sort of added bonus and get airdropped Bonk. So we don't know that for sure, but if you have a look here, they say reward supporters with Bonk. There you go. So that's the first thing when you actually look at their LST in the list. So that's one of the reasons why I actually don't have that much. I think I've only got 8 BonkSOL. You can see that I'm farming this thing like crazy, 44 million XP. But yeah, actually I only have 8, so that's actually not that much. But maybe I'll diversify, maybe I'll add a little bit more to here, because Bonk's been doing really well overall. But another thing I should mention is that airdrop threaders, so threadors, post that Sanctum airdrop is underfarmed. So if you see all these threads, a lot of the time, you know, they're just doing pretty much like what I did before, shamelessly plugging their ref link. Oh, sorry, guilty. Anyway, they are saying that the airdrop is quite underfarmed. Let's look at TVL. So now Sanctum is in the top 5 applications in TVL, and they've gone up again 330% in a month. Now, I've shown this last month, I think it was, where it was up 400%. You can see their TVL is going absolutely bonkers. So that's total value locked. That's how much money is in the protocol. I wouldn't say that's underfarmed, to be honest. But anyway, I was actually looking through the list of LSTs yesterday on Sanctum, and I saw this pumpkin soul. This is some cat, which is kind of cool. But look at this, support animal welfare. That's really nice. Yeah, we donate 5% of the profits to animal welfare organizations each month. But what I think is the most impressive thing is, look at this. The APY is 33% on liquid staked SOL. That's insane. I think it's probably because not that many are staked here, but where the hell are they getting this from? That's insane. But actually, this could be the start of something really interesting, right? Maybe we'll get tree SOL, where like 5% of the staking rewards go to planting trees to fight climate change or something like that. You know what I mean? Who knows? Actually, is that a good idea? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if that's a good idea. Would you buy tree SOL if it supports reforestation projects? I don't know. If you're a greenie, it is. But FP Lee goes into a little bit more detail on this, and this is also another feature as well that could be something that you'll see some influencers do, right? Or some probably content creators would do more so, is that this could be like a Patreon for staking. That's kind of how I see it anyway. Yeah, kind of like the Patreon for staking. So FP Lee, who is one of the main developers of Sanctum, Sol Alchemist, has created the first personal LST. Now, I did see this in the list, but I saw it wasn't part of Wonderland, so I didn't buy it. But essentially, it's a proof of concept to show the world of potential for infinite LST future. Now, the whole purpose of this LST is that all of the staking rewards go to the creator of the LST. So you still get price appreciation, but you're rewarding, if you will, the minter with the staking rewards. So you still get price appreciation for SOL, but the staking rewards all go to a good cause, also known as FP Lee. But yeah, it's an interesting concept, right? So it says no APY, you can quite clearly see there. But basically all the staking rewards go to FP Lee in this case, and you get access to a private Discord channel, and the exact cause will be determined together by the holders. So that's an interesting concept, and they're using Lane to stake, which actually has a really high APY. When I looked at the list, Lane was like 10%, that's crazy high in terms of staking, because I think Solana averages around 7-8%. So anything above that, you're getting more staking rewards than if you just simply stake to a validator in your wallet. So interesting concept. Obviously, I won't read this whole thing because I want to move on. Now, let's look at a few things that I saw. Y2 Kappa is one of the developers for Kamino. Now, this post was doing a bit of circulation there. Someone on Bybit called their wallet, their publicly visible account, if you will, as Kamino Team Sales, right? Now, someone here, this person posted, this went kind of viral, I think, 62K views on this post. Someone on Bybit called their leaderboard or their account that, and it showed up in the leaderboard showing their P&L, which was $3.2 million, which was second ranked on the weekly leaderboard. So, he's had to come out and say, look, that's not us. Anyone can pick their own name on Bybit. So anyway, that was pretty funny. People were just like, yeah, this is like Kamino Team Sales, so let's just FUD them for it. But yeah, that trader is the troll of the year, right? So anyway, now to quickly cover IONet. So their airdrop will be 5% of the total supply going to community. Again, IONet is another GPU sharing application where you can go and share your GPU for AI applications. They've integrated render networks, so you can use render or you can use IONet, and you can deploy your own cluster. I personally have one. I don't really run it all the time, but I don't get delegated to because I don't have a very powerful GPU compared to some of the others on there. But I still did it. I still paid I think it was $10, 10 USDC to set it up. But nevertheless, we've got worker rewards season 1 throughout to April 25. So that's already done. It's 17.5 million IO. Then we're into the current epoch, which is the 1st of May to the 31st, and then so on and so forth. So I come in here, but season 1 rewards and community, content creators, galaxy quests, Discord rewards will be claimable at launch for eligible participants. So there you go. Now I'll just cover a few things that are happening with Drift. And who else is a Drift OG? I actually was cleaning up my wallet and I saw this. It's an little animated NFT. It's actually one of the first animated NFTs I saw. But anyway, so that's my ticket there from V2. So this is literally, I got in before it was publicly available. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So this is proof that I'm an OG, and that's one of the reasons why I have the points that I do and why my allocation is what it is. There was the space here that took place. I didn't actually listen to this morning because I was asleep when it happened, but they were like, what questions do you want answered? They literally didn't answer any of my questions. I was like, I'd love to see autofill arrows on the candles, use more LSTs as collateral in Drift, plus Wonderland integration. Actually, Cindy did address the governance a little bit. So actually the team did mention what they wanted to do with regards to the governance and proposing new tickers. So they did say a little bit about that, but it just kind of sounded like sort of standard talking points. What I would love to see is Signal bot APIs in Drift. That would be pretty amazing. And also grid limit order integration, I think would be really nice. And then, I don't know, are they going to have any like revenue sharing model for their staking? Although I don't think that their revenue is crazy, but I just wanted to know. But this is a really cool call. Anatoly was on there, also Jito team and Drift team. So anyway, it's worth a listen if you're curious about what's coming up for restaking, what Drift is working on, and even, you know, listen to one of the founders of Solana talk about a bunch of crazy technical jargon, which, you know, I love to hear personally because my background's in IT, but I think a lot of people might not understand some of the stuff he says, but anyway, whatever. Now, here we go. Let's cover a few things about Flash Trade. Now, again, as I said, that is a farm that is currently ongoing in terms of airdrop farming, but you can actually farm the FLP here. So this is a chart here measured from January. Now, let's have a look here if you put down $100 into FLP instead of Bitcoin or even the Jupiter LP. So $100 today would equal about $166. So that's $118 from the FLP plus $48 in fees collected. I've personally got some USDC that I can claim right now. I think it's only about $20 or $30 or something like that. But that's from about 1,000, which is actually not too bad. Now, here is the chart here. This is FLP1. So the actual FLP itself has been going down, but the fees collected have made that a lot better, right? So we've got Bitcoin price. You can see that's quite clearly Bitcoin price. I mean, it looks like Bitcoin's price in percentage gains as of the start of the year. And then we've got JLP, which is the Jupiter LP, which the actual LP itself, I think the fees and all that stuff is baked into the price itself. So FLP1 is doing pretty well. And this is what it looks like. So that's what you do when you want to stake in there, and you just collect the fees when they're ready to go, or when you want to claim them, I should say. Okay, so let's have a quick look at Mango Markets. They have listed Kamino for trading, and they've also listed Popcat, which you can use as collateral, I think maybe. But it says here, lend, borrow, swap, and trade. They also have yield boosting on JLP on their website as well, which I've mentioned in previous videos, but 403% APY on JLP. Now that would actually absolutely decimate the yield on the FLP, to be honest. But this one borrows, I think it borrows USDC in order to leverage up the LP. I've actually got about $500 worth of JLP in here. So that's been going crazy, earning very, very attractive yield, to be honest, because it's the yield from the JLP, which is about 100% plus this extra yield here. So pretty cool. But for the most part, they are a derivatives exchange, and you can see they've actually listed JSOL as well. So I didn't pick up on that one. So they've actually got quite a few assets you can provide, but just keep in mind that a lot of these are zero, so you can't even use them as collateral. So you can deposit, but they don't actually do anything. But you can actually earn some yield on your Nasana. So if you've got Nasana and you're not doing anything with it, you can earn a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of yield here, a little bit of yield on your BONK, so on and so forth. Apparently I've earned $1 on this tiny bit of Bitcoin that I put in here. So anyway, a lot of assets you can put down, but if you look at the collateral weight on a lot of these, you can't use them to trade against. So even if you did put it in here, it doesn't really matter. You can borrow them if you want to borrow and sell, but anyway, what Mango Markets really needs is more liquidity, to be honest. We got okay volume going through the protocol, admittedly. About 20 million deposited. That's not a lot. So, I mean, again, these guys were exploited, by a hack back in 22, and they haven't quite recovered from there. But, they're still shipping. They're still trying to build out. So, respect to them for that. Now, let's talk about some memecoin stuff. Look at this. This is crazy. So 14,000 new tokens will launch on Solana every day for the past 2 months, or thereabouts, right? Anywhere between 9,000 and 14,000. A little bit dramatized on the on that post there. Good old engagement farming. But yeah, I mean, the memecoin mania is real. That's just crazy, just how many tokens are being minted on Solana. Now, I saw this, there's a new meta that seems to be popping into the memecoin space. So we've got country coins. So I looked at StonkSpot yesterday, and it actually bought me some USA. I'm like, what is this USA? USA coin. We got Bowden, which is which actually Anatoly mentioned in the call that I mentioned just before. But we've got Bowden, so president coins, and then we've got, or politician coins, and then we've got country coins now, apparently. And I actually saw Vietnam and China coin in Stonk Spot. So people have been looking at them, right? Because that's based on people that are looking at them. And then we've got the cat coins, which is the current meta, cats to 1 billion, right? That's the goal anyway. So if you got a cat coin and you don't front run that $1 billion mark, then maybe you won't get your sell orders filled, but depends, you know, if it really runs, then maybe they'll exceed 1 billion. But this is a new thing, right? This is a new thing. Meme coin season is picking up again on Solana, and this time it's NationFi. NationFi, interesting. Country coins. So USA currently holding at $90 million market cap, so very low market cap, followed by the launch of other country coins. So we've got a whole list here. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. I guess if you can either speculate in other countries, BRICS currency, that's pretty cool, or you can buy your own, I guess. Not financial advice, but this is kind of crazy, right? This is the meme coin meta further evolving. Also notice this, so Popcat and Michi Chad starting a new position in Nut, so probably nothing, right? So this is a wallet that this person here is following, and they've started to buy Nut. Also Gecko, I don't even know what that is. But yeah, so Nut, just so you know, is Nutflex, which I mentioned a couple of videos now, are doing these weird little meme videos, I suppose. But that's another meta as well, right? You got that Tuka coin, for example, which is being shilled by crypto banter like crazy. And then, yeah, you've got something that's similar to it, that's much lower market cap, that could very well build out into something, I don't know, pretty entertaining. I've watched a few of the videos, and some of them I'm like, this is, I mean, I might be showing my age here. I'm like, this is a little bit cringe, and some of them I've actually thought were quite funny. So, bit of a mixed bag, really. But anyway, there's potential, right? There's potential. Now, let's have a quick look at the progress with Maneki. Now, it's not been doing very well on the chart, but I think it is a contender for one of the next $1 billion cat coins. So that's 10x from here. It's actually probably more than that now because price went down since I did this post. But I think they deserve it. Like, the art is epic, and they've been pushing marketing like crazy, and they dropped it to Saga phone holders. So this is what the price would be if it hits 1 billion. So if you see Maneki hitting about 11 cents or thereabouts, then it might be worth looking to take some profit. That's all I'm going to say about that. Whether you hold it or not, it's completely up to you. But personally, my target is a little bit lower than this for at least the stuff that I bought. The airdrop, I'll probably just hold that and round trip it. But the stuff that I've bought, I'll probably end up taking profit around the $900 million level, $800 million level like this, because people have been front running that $1 billion level. Like Mew went up to about $950 million market cap and then spiked down aggressively. So that was probably a bunch of limit orders being filled on Jupiter, I would say. If anything, but anyway, it's a 10x from here. That's not bad. And people want 100x's or all that sort of thing, but you know, I think 10x is not bad from here. So let's look at some other stuff, less meme related. So we've got SolCex here. Now, I actually saw the price skyrocketing on this SolCex coin. I was like, what the hell is this, right? So if you haven't heard of SolCex before, and I hadn't heard of it, but in a very short period of time, only a couple of days, I saw it up 160% in one day and 1,110% since the start of the month. How crazy is that? So what is SolCex? It's a centralized exchange that uses Solana. So it's kind of interesting, right? So the whole point of this, right, is it's similar to your Mango markets, your Drift, all that sort of stuff, but it is centralized. So I don't know if there's like KYC, there probably would be because it's centralized. Maybe not, maybe, I'm not sure. But it means that when you're putting in a limit order or something like that, or even a market order, you don't have to confirm the transaction before you go through. Now, I don't think they've got cross-collateralization like they do with Mango or Drift, as in you can put down assets and trade against them. Probably just trade against USDC, to be honest. But anyway, they've got a little video here just talking about it, standard marketing post. But it is the first centralized exchange on Solana. They do have a token, as I mentioned before. So, you know, if you think this could do well, then I don't know if you... It's up to you what you do, obviously, with your money. But the coin is at a $23 million market cap, which is quite low. But it's not exactly a meme coin. It's up 15,000% from entry. I mean, the guys who have made this are probably pretty happy at the moment. But yeah, I don't know what kind of traction this will get. And I don't know what kind of pumpermentals they kind of have. But nevertheless, this could do all right at a $20 million market cap. I feel like I might buy some of this if we come down to like maybe... Well, we already came down here, right? And that was after I posted this, $15 million market cap or thereabouts. So maybe I'll put an alert in for 15 million, and if it gets there, maybe I'll buy a little bit. But nevertheless, that's something to watch, I guess, to see how they build out centralized exchange on Solana. I mean, it kind of goes against the ethos of DeFi, but you know, the fact you don't have to approve transactions to go through, I think that's kind of nice, because the approval is kind of annoying. So, I mean, it's cool. It's cool. We'll see how it builds out. I'll definitely be watching it. Now, I've mentioned crypto cards in previous videos, like the BitStore one, which is a physical or a virtual credit card. The virtual one actually doesn't require KYC, but it often gets blocked and you have to cancel and withdraw the funds. So it's actually kind of annoying, but it is a non-KYC credit card. So, you know, all that happens in that case, if it gets blocked or canceled, is you just withdraw the funds, create a new card, and then that's it. Which I kind of like the idea of, you know, if you're using your card online, it's kind of nice to be able to rotate those numbers so you're not getting doxed for your purchases online. But there's one that I found here called SolCard. So SolCard is actually looking to do holder cashback. Now, I don't know if that's cashback for their token holders or the actual card holders. Referral program, they're going to look to launch Apple Pay. So that's pretty cool, because the BitStore one, you can't actually put in Apple Pay. It doesn't work. So anyway, it's another one I thought I would mention. It's just SolCard CC, if you want to look at their Twitter handle and come over and check their website out. I think their top-up fee is about 5%, and it's about 2.5% with BitStore. They don't have an annual fee or anything like that, though, so that's the difference, because the other card has $1 per month fee. So I think if you're not topping up all the time, this would probably work out to be a little better. But anyway, no KYC required, no annual fee, and then you can refund it at any time. So there you go, another one to add to the list, which I think that I tried to sign up to this and I couldn't get a card. So we might have to wait to actually be able to get any cards. But anyway, let's move on to other ecosystem news, shall we? So what happened on SUI? This is what I was saying in this post. So SUI network flipped Solana in daily transactions. I saw this spike. I'm like, what happened here? SUI's gone crazy. Well, I'll tell you why that happened in just a second, but we can actually see here transactions per day have spiked up like crazy. So this is from May the 1st. Look at SUI. Look at it. Climbing. This is going crazy. Again, like, why is this happening? Is the ultimate question. Look at that. It's gone absolutely crazy. And we're at May 3rd now. That's probably because people are using this project called Spam. So there's a project on SUI where you can spam the blockchain and you get spam tokens. So this explains the crazy on-chain transaction increase, right? So it's an on-chain mechanism to track user transactions, calculate rewards per user, and let users mint spam in proportion to the number of transactions they sent. So this, I think, is why this is happening, right? This actually makes a lot of sense. People are essentially mining this spam token. And according to this post, 1 billion spam tokens or coins are minted every day. If that's the mint connected to the transactions currently, well, that's why it's gone crazy, right? So the more transactions you send, the more spam you receive. So people are essentially spamming the blockchain with transactions, which is one of the reasons why it's hacking these metrics, which is really funny. But yeah, look at this. Spam is clearly working. So now a leader in daily transactions over Solana, Aptos, and Nia. So how crazy is that? One thing I think is worth noting is look at the daily gas fees. And again, the gas on SUI is very cheap. So the daily gas fees paid to the network went up from $7,000 to over $30,000 because of this. So that's crazy. The gas prices didn't go up, but it's generated a lot more for stakers, right? And for validators. It also has been boosting their TPS. The silver lining here is it's actually battle testing SUI as well, really, when you think about it. You know, because if the network was unstable, then it probably would have gone down, right? If it was that much of an issue to do this, but it was humming along with no issues at all. So again, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, you can check SUI ecosystem coins on Bird Eye. Now, there's not too many memes over there, right? There's not too many memes. There's mainly ecosystem coins at the moment. But for example, there's one like Cetus, which, you know, it looks kind of primed to go up. That's one of the dexes on SUI. Now, I actually did buy my SUI yesterday, right? So I bridged about 6 SOL to SUI, and I actually copped a 5% haircut. So I used Wormhole and bridged over. So it's pretty illiquid. So just so you know, if you're going to come from Solana, that the price impact is actually pretty bad. And I used Cetus for that swap, I think, because it was the only DEX that had it available. Most of my SUI right now is in VSUI, which is a liquid stake token for SUI on Navi protocol. Now, Navi is a money market, so you can put down collateral and then borrow against it. So I'm doing that to farm points, I guess, if you will, if they're going to have a token airdrop. Now I'm doing it for Scallop. Now, Scallop has their own LST, HASUI. So there you go. And both are earning about 30% APY. So that's LST APY plus supply in the money market. So if you're having a play in the SUI ecosystem, which I am, then they actually raised 3 million, which is not too bad. A lot of participants in the raise. So, you know, they've got an incentives program going at the moment. So if you provide equity, at least, and if you borrow, then you get SUI rewards, and that's until the 12th of May, right? I don't have my SUI wallet installed on this computer, so I can't show you, but nevertheless, you actually can claim rewards, and I'm sure they'll do a token in the future. So something worth watching if you're having a play in the SUI ecosystem. Another thing I saw as well with regards to SUI is their TVL, in terms of not dollar value, but in terms of their SUI value, has gone up like crazy recently. Look at this. TVL is absolutely on the rise there, measured on DeFi Llama. So there's definitely action happening, right? There's definitely action happening on the chain. So it's definitely, I would say, one to watch. With most of the money of late flowing into ZeroLend, Ondo, which is an RWA, and also we've got, some new liquid staking and stuff like that coming up. So I think it's one to watch. Personally, I mentioned in a few videos the offline transactions, a few other really cool stuff going on there. So yeah, anyway, let's move on. So a couple of things in the Injective ecosystem. We've got Injex Finance, which is a DEX aggregator for Injective, has shown us a bit of a sneak peek on what's going to look like. Now, again, this is something akin to Jupiter. And when I compare it to Jupiter, I'm just talking about Jupiter's core functionality, because Jupiter does a lot of things now, right? But in terms of just being a DEX aggregator, this is quite an important component for most chains, because you won't always be getting the best price. Maybe you're trading in a liquid pair, and you go to a DEX like Dojo Swap, for example, and then maybe it's not like super liquid, like there's not a lot of liquidity provided, so you might get crazy slippage, really bad price impact, like I was saying before with SUI and Solana, and then you just have to cop it, right? Now that's where these come in, because this will search across the entire chain and look for the best and cheapest route and not cop a 5% haircut on swaps. So they haven't launched yet, but they actually do have a pre-sale going at the moment. So again, I'm not saying they will add as many features as Jupiter when I compare to Jupiter, but they still serve a valuable purpose without any additional features. They've got a pre-sale going at the moment. The first round was sold out, and the second round's going at the moment. 10% unlocked at TGE, and it's vested for 16 months. So whatever you buy here, you'll be able to, if you want to sell, you'll be able to sell immediately at TGE, and then you'll have a vesting schedule for the rest. So anyway, I'm not saying, this is not financial advice. I'm just saying it's there. Whatever you want to do with this information is completely up to you. Also, introducing the first ever restaking security framework for on-chain inEVM applications. So again, talked about eigenlayer and restaking a little bit. So yeah, it's a bit of a alt layer. Is that a partnership, you could say? Maybe. But yeah, alt layer MAC joins forces with Injective to bring lightning fast finality, doubling security, scalability, and speed. So again, inEVM is the EVM component for Injective. So there you go. It's a bit of restaking stuff coming to the Injective ecosystem. Now, there's strong speculation that staking Pyth will qualify you for the Monad airdrop in a few months. We've also got speculation that Wormhole will be, staking, or at least holding Wormhole will also qualify for the airdrop. So I think with Pyth though, I think you might need like more than 5,000 to start getting airdrops in the future, because I've got about 4060, I think, for 4060 tokens, and there was a KTX airdrop, and you needed 5,000 Pyth. So eligible users, if you've staked more than 5,000 Pyth tokens, you'll be considered as an eligible user too. It's so annoying. I'm just under. So anyway, KTX I've mentioned in previous videos. This is actually the Arbitrum one, but the one I mentioned in my videos was on the Mantle network, so that was part of the Mantle farm. They haven't mentioned anything for Mantle, just for Arbitrum at the moment. They already have a token. I'm actually staking it at the moment. But yeah, it's Arbitrum Atlas airdrop. So there you go, from 7th of May till the 21st of May, that's the farming duration. And yeah, here's mine, 4068. I just missed out. Oh well. So there was another airdrop for ZeroLend, which is they've just released their Zero token. Now, ZeroLend was part of my Manta airdrop video. So that was one of the ones that I brought up in that. It's a money market. It's on ZK Sync as well. I actually did not qualify for this because I just didn't have enough money in there. So there you go. More plutocratic airdrops, I guess. And yeah, ZeroLend is just a money market, so you can put down equity. It's on many chains though. It's on ZK Sync, Manta, Blast L2, Linear. So yeah, it's definitely a multi L2 money market, that's for sure. The Zero token's now live and tradable, and the airdrop is claimable now. But yeah, I didn't qualify for it, so whatever. I don't care. It's fine. And yeah, the KTX one, just so you know, KTX is a perps trading platform. So that's what KTX is, if you're curious. I was actually having a look today at my MetaMask to see how my staking and stuff for KTX has gone, and actually have got me pretty good yield on it, because I guess I did it and bought it and staked it in like November last year. But MNT, apparently 484 MNT tokens is $22, $23. Price of one MNT is 105. Bloody MetaMask. Anyway, and just to wrap things up, there's a few airdrops coming to Cosmos. So we've got a Veil token claiming has begun, and unfortunately nothing for DYM stakers. Yes, I can attest to that. NIM, the mainnet is live and awaiting trading. There's 15 up and coming airdrops for DYM stakers, and DYM at the time that I bought it is down a lot. So if I get no airdrops from buying this, because it's the whole reason why I bought it, I mean, that's going to be kind of annoying. There's actually a big list here. So if you want, you can pause and have a look. Prism airdrop is coming. Manned airdrop is coming for DYM stakers. Again, I either didn't stake early enough or not enough, so I didn't get this one. Again, yeah, I think that if you want good airdrops, probably Cosmos is not the best. I'm going to be honest. Cosmos is not the best. But then again, I think if you are a whale and, you know, in the ecosystem, then I think it's fine, right? It's just that most of my money is in Solana, and I've just got breadcrumbs on many other chains comparatively. But anyway, I think that's probably enough. So that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, then please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this, and go check me out on X if you want all this alpha in real time before I do long form video on it. Check out the links below for Sanctum if you're wanting to use that, and Clone as well. Again, both current active airdrop farms. And I'll see you on the next one. This is Kryptolytix signing out. Have a good one.